So, I don't know about you, but I was always weary about intoxicating myself. Along with my father being an alcoholic, which had me worried about myself for a time, I believed that any human who kept himself pure would be a happier human, which, at least for me, is complete BS. And as far as I see it, a strange mentality to have. Go with me on this. I figured that I'd be smarter if I abstained from intoxicants. Now, on paper, that can seem to make sense, right? Yeah, I keep my brain healthy, my body healthy, and I never do a bad thing. But when I finally did get drunk, I realized that life is for fun, and if you're gonna live your life stopping yourself from having fun, then you may as well already be dead. And this applies to way more than intoxication, but the point is, I'm not afraid to have a beer every so often, and I've gotten myself into some pretty weird situations because of it. Like the other week. I was at this bar called Kingwa. Now, I'd actually been to this bar one time before. A few friends from Falcon Northwest invited me to karaoke with them one night, and that happened to be the second time that I'd ever been drunk in my life. I had a wild time, but something weird always happens to me at this bar. For example, the first time I was there with my Falcon friends, I sang Johnny Cash and Marty Robbins songs for the whole bar. Well, this old guy that I'd never met before waves me over after I sang a Marty Robbins song. He buys me a shot and says, "Man, your generation isn't supposed to know about Marty Robbins. Let me buy you another shot." This dude got me wildly drunk, and he took me back to his place and we had sex. Okay, that didn't happen, but it turned out that that might have been what he was trying for. I got way too drunk to even realize what was happening. I was just happy to be getting free shots, but my buddy Prick Tim came over and helped me get away from the man who wanted my little bullet. Now this story's weird, sure, but the one that happened last week is even crazier. So my brother's having a going away party for his coworker, and a bunch of friends of theirs are going to Kingwa to wish her well. We go to the bar and we start putting drinks in us, and I go up to sing Ring of Fire by Johnny Cash. Now, I'm not one to brag, but I can sing a mean Johnny Cash. And I seem to get the attention of this tall, high-fashion girl with jet black hair. She walks up to me after the song, leans up against a wall, and says, "Hey." Now, me, being the articulate gentleman I am, I looked back and said, "Hey." Now, I'm not really used to situations like this, but I think I played it cool and her and I went outside and started to get a bit cuddly. And this girl was into me. Now, I know what you're thinking. Barry, it's COVID season, you know? Kissing strangers isn't really the best idea, you dum-dum, and I get that. It wasn't my intention, but you tell me that a cute girl walks up to you after you inadvertently serenaded her and you tell her no. Yeah, I didn't think so. Either way, we stayed out there till closing time, so we had to start making our way back to the cars, which we'd left at some restaurant a few blocks away as we figured we may want to walk off the alcohol. I said goodbye to this mysterious girl and I started walking back. Now, it was probably about 30 minutes later when I get a text from another friend of mine who'd been at the bar. The text read, "Hey Barry, I just wanted to let you know that that girl that you were hanging out with, she's a bit different and she doesn't like to tell anyone." Different, I thought, and I was so drunk I never really even thought about it. Then it hit me. The girl who had just texted me to warn me was transgender. Oh, I thought, and I started laughing out loud. Seems the kind of people I attract are old men, regular men, and people who used to be men. Sweet.
Fun.
As I lay there in a black dress, my father in a casket had no plans. Oh.
This next story happened at a different kind of party. I was at a friend's house and we were just casually hanging out. We had wine and IPAs, maybe some hard liquor to take shots of, but either way, I'm sitting at a table and I am pretty drunk. My buddy Trevin is standing next to the table. Next to him is my buddy Alec, and then at the other side of the table from me is a buddy of mine named Zion, who's not really into intoxicants but will partake every now and then. So we're sitting there having a conversation about consciousness and reality and especially what might take place after death. We're chatting about religious beliefs when a conversation about reincarnation occurred. I was talking about how Buddhists believe that we reincarnate over and over, trying little by little to reach a higher state of being. Death for most of us is darkness, and then you get a new life, and that process remains until you figure life out, and then you can ascend to the next stage, when Zion spoke up. Now, Zion is a very respectful speaker. He's not out to hurt feelings, and he really takes his time to make sure what he's saying is articulate and said in a way that won't offend anyone. And he said something like, "Actually, I think the Buddhist reincarnation ideology is probably the thing I resonate with most." To which I shot back and said, "Yeah, that's because you're a bitch." The room lost it. This last story happened in Vietnam. Now, I know I haven't taken a lot of time to share these stories, and I promise you will hear a lot more of them, but one day I was in Boi Vinh, which is the party district, for those of you who don't know, where you can pretty much do whatever you like. There I was, sitting in a bar, smoking some weed and taking puffs of this nitrous oxide that the bars were serving, when a man walks into the bar and he sits down next to me. At first, he was just some friendly Vietnamese guy. He seemed to want to sit and chat, but after a second, he started rubbing my back. "What the hell are you doing?" I said, and he looked at me and said, "You want a massage?" "No, I don't want a massage, thanks for the offer," and I turned away. The guy grabbed me and started massaging my back, and after telling him no a few times, I just sat back and enjoyed it. See, when you're in these countries, you'll have some people walk up, perform a service of some sort, and then at the end they ask a crap load of money, and then they go about their day. I'm not interested in this scam, but I was getting a massage, so I didn't really care at that point. And the guy went all out. He massaged my scalp, my ears, my neck, my back, even my arms, and I just sat there puffing on my balloon and smoking my weed. After a good 5 minutes, this guy sits back and says, "Okay, 200. Now, 200,000 Vietnam dong is about $8, which really isn't that big of a deal, but this was not going to happen. I turned to him and said, "Turn around." Now, this seemed to throw him off a bit, and he didn't really know how to react. "Turn around," I said again, and he did. Once he turned around, I started massaging his back, and quickly he got up and shook his hands. "No, no, 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 no." I looked at him and said, "Yeah, I said no. Sit down, you're getting a back rub." Everyone in the bar started laughing, and after this guy realized that he wasn't getting his money, he took off. Now, don't get me wrong. Intoxication can make you act like a fool, can make you feel less sharp, and can dampen your reaction time and judgment. But depending on your limit, and so long as you don't push yourself, you can really sharpen your people skills, and it felt nice to show this Vietnamese that not all foreigners are idiots. Before I go, I have a little bonus clip that happened the other day. I recorded this for my friends, but I think you guys will like it. I hope you enjoy. So, normally I would wait until I was hanging out with all of you guys to tell this story, but it was so funny. So, my mother's car has been out of commission for a little bit. She's getting that tire worked on. So I took it to Costco, and they said it was going to be like 3 hours before the thing was just completely done. So I took my rollerblades. And I'm rollerblading down to my dad's house. It was in Central Point. And as I'm going to my dad's place, there's this truck at this stoplight. And I hear someone in the truck, a guy, scream out, "Hey!" And I didn't even know he was talking to me or like my direction or anything. I wasn't sure if that's what was happening. But I turned and I'm looking around and I don't really see who it is. And then I hear the same voice say, "Fall!" And at first I was like, wow, what an asshole. Like, if I had known who it was, I'd have flipped him off. I get to my dad's house, we hang out for a little bit, I get the call that it's time to head back, and I start blading back. 3 more times. 3 more times. Someone stops, or I'm at a stoplight or something. And these, like, the first one was a group of guys. And one of them, the driver, sticks his head out of the car and he goes, "Hey, fuck you!" And then I had another guy honk at me a couple times. And I don't know if he was waving or what, but I don't know, like, there's a weird thing with rollerblades or something. But I get to the Costco, and finally, someone who said something, but it was a girl, it was a woman, and she said, "Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. That's the coolest thing I've seen all day. I miss my rollerblades. That's awesome." I don't know what it is about rollerblades, but it seems to bring out some really playful behavior in people. "Henry, you son of a bitch!